गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शितर शितस्मार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी शिव पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सार्व विश्व विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। I'll just do a very short Jayadvan. Actually, let's just do the regular way. We're having a short reading today. So, Ajnanaतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्री सिद्धांत सरस्वती विदितो गौरीय गुरुन्वये भात भानुरिव प्रभात गगने गौर संकीर्तन माया भारती मिंगिलो दरगतान उद्धृत्य जीवारिमान् कृष्ण प्रेम सुधाब्धिकाहन सुखम् प्रादात् प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्ति विनोदं श्री गौरशक्ति स्वरूपकं भक्ति शास्त्रज्ञ साम्राज्यं राधारस सुधानिधिं श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वृषभानुसुतान्वितवामतनुं यमुनातटनागरनन्दसुतं मुरलीकलगीतविनोदपरं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुं स्मर गौरगदाधर केलिकलां भव गौरगदाधर पक्षचर शृणु गौरगदाधर चारुकथं भज गोद्रुमकाननकुञ्जविदुं तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, dear devotees, Niri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nitai Mukeshji, and on YouTube and Facebook, I see Gangamachi Mataji and Mahi Bharat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. Great to see you. And everybody else joining, I'm guessing Indira Mataji is there, and Viseshwari Mataji, and I don't know who else, maybe Rohini Nandan Prabhu and Rupa Raghunath Prabhu. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. And also pranams to all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi and Jayade Prabhu. Haribo. So, yeah, I was about to cancel our reading today, but then I just decided to do it last minute. Oh, Haribo Vidilala Sadidi. I decided just to do it. We'll have a short reading today, though. We're already starting very late, but I thought we could read from Rays of the Harmonist, Gaura-Pūrṇimā issue 2010 Gaura-Pūrṇimā. I think it's number 21. And there's an article by, well, actually, we're going to read two letters today. One letter is by Śrīla Sarasvatī Prabhupāda, which is the means for attaining welfare when Sādhu-saṅga is far away. And then another letter from our Śrīla Paramgurudev, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Keśava Gosvāmī, which is, what is it? Shri Bhagavān is not for the weak-hearted. So, Haribol Champak Mataji. Oh, and Haribol Abhay Prabhu. Haribol. So let's begin. The means of attaining welfare when Sādhu-saṅga is far away. A letter by Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Thakur Prabhupāda. This is written from Sri Chaitanya Math in Sri Mayapur, 22nd December, 1927. The name of the recipient was kept anonymous. Yesterday, I received your letter from the name from, and then it's blank. I also received a letter from you. The name was rejected, I mean. I also received a letter from you many days ago, even before I went to the Western districts. But I could not reply to it in time due to my travels there. You can find out about the festivals and programs that were held in various places in the Western districts by reading the Gaudiya magazine or by hearing from the devotees. The Gaudiya is a weekly magazine. Righteous people everywhere are becoming joyful and satisfied by hearing the message of Sriman Mahaprabhu. For the devotees of Bhagavān, Sri Navadvip Dham is a place of utmost reverence. Every place in this Dham awakens remembrance of Bhagavān within one's heart. For this reason, I especially desire to live here for a few more days. But according to what is necessary for the sake of service to Sri Hari, I shall have to travel to other places like Kolkata. Sriman Mahaprabhu is extremely merciful. He has therefore arranged that so many devotees are present even in a place like Kolkata. In Sri Gaudiya Math, Hari Katha flows constantly, and everyone has become intoxicated by their intense engagement in service. It is most appropriate for me to thoroughly embrace such association for the rest of my life, like when Sri Parikshit Mahārāja heard Srimad Bhagavatam for the last days of his life. In these last days of my life, a place devoid of Harikatha, even if it were occupied by all my kith and kin and full of all material comforts, seems utterly undesirable to me. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, seeing how the inclination to devotedly serve Bhagavan is present within all the mats, I constantly think of the benevolence of Sriman Mahaprabhu. I once spent my life preferring to drink the happiness that is derived from the objects of material sense perception. But today, wherever I go, I am able to serve Sri Bhagavan and gain the association of his devotees. By spending however many days we have left of our lives like this, we shall never live in misery by becoming averse to Sri Hari. You are not hearing enough Harikatha from the lips of the devotees who are inclined towards serving Sri Bhagavan and who are wrapped in Hari Bhajan. Because of this, You do not appreciate your good fortune. However, the fact that you constantly remain inclined to serve Sri Hari keeps you aloof from adverse association. When you are on your own, you should always read the Gaudiya and the devotional literatures written by other Vaishnavas. This will, in itself, enable you to reap the benefit of listening to Hari Katha from the lips of the devotees. While living on this earth, we do not get the direct association of many devotees from the transcendental realm. But because the conversations and pastimes of the devotees who are present during the manifest pastimes of Sriman Mahaprabhu perpetually exist in the form of sacred texts and sound vibration, so granthas and shabda, or words, we do not feel so much pain in our worldly troubles. If in this world we live amidst the discussion and message of the transcendental world, our reflections on that message will keep us aloof from worldly pain. No matter where you find yourself, that divine Harikatha will never abandon you. I love that sentence. No matter where you find yourself, that divine Harikatha will never abandon you. To be sure, you will even remember Bhagavān. You will even remember Bhagavān and comprehends the topic of bhakti within all things of this world. By the sublime will of the Lord, I may again have the opportunity to visit all these places in the western districts, and you would again get the chance to listen to Hari Katha. But it is certainly appropriate for a devotee to forget his misery and live in whatever condition Bhagavan is pleased to keep him in. The ordinary people of this material world cannot understand the divine message of Bhagavan, of Sriman Mahaprabhu, or of the transcendent nature and qualities of his devotees. Only when the inclination to serve Bhagavan arises in one's heart can one remember Sri Hari under all circumstances. Since you are always endeavoring for your spiritual welfare, Bhagavan is manifesting all his transcendental narrations, the message of Godhead, within your heart through the medium of the devotional literatures. It is written in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Jato deko Vaishnaver vyavahar dukh, nishchoy jani hoshe parananda sukh. It's Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda 9-240. That means, know this for certain. Whatever you may perceive as ordinary misery in a Vaishnava is in fact his greatest joy. So that he may test us, within this world, Bhagavan always remains hidden. Our superficial perception can only diminish by comprehending his presence underlying everything. Our superficial perception can only diminish by comprehending his presence underlying everything. Adyapi Śrīla kore Gaura-Rai, kono kono Bhagavān deki bare pai. That means, even today, Gaura-Rai is performing his pastimes, but only a few most fortunate souls can see them. When will that most fortunate day come for us, when we will all become travelers on the path of bhakti by following in the footsteps of Sri Gaurasundar in every respect? This world is but a place where the Supreme Lord examines us. To excel in that examination, one must hear kirtan of Hari performed by his devotees. And you are hearing that kirtan through the medium of devotional literature. Therefore, it is by no means appropriate for you to consider yourself deprived. Once, a long time ago, Hiranyakashipu declared everywhere that Bhagavan does not exist in this world. On many occasions, he brutally confronted his son Prahlad in an attempt to force him to accept this conclusion. But then Sri Nrsimhadev emerged from within a pillar and generated spiritual welfare for Hiranyakashipu and the entire world. The devotees of the Lord perceive their Lord at all times and in all things. But those who are envious of him cannot even comprehend that he exists at all. We who are situated somewhere in between, we're not fully envious of him and that we can't comprehend, but that we do believe he exists. but also we don't perceive him at all times in all things. So we're somewhere in between these two. So we who are situated somewhere in between are sometimes inclined toward devotional service to Hari, but then the very next moment, we absorb ourselves in sense gratification. Due solely to our desire to engage in devotional service, we will gradually escape our entanglement in all forms of material sense enjoyment. Fleeting happiness and distress is always present in mundane sense gratification. But devotional service, bhakti, which is eternal, gives bliss to Bhagavān. With the aim of giving that bliss to Bhagavān, we can remain perpetually engaged in his service. I am not sure whether or not you will get any instantaneous benefit by reading this detailed letter. My communication skills are extremely poor. Since I am not able to make everything understandable to everyone, I often remain silent. Here in Sri Chaitanya Math, all the activities have begun that are necessary before the commencement of the festival. Your eternal well-wisher, Sri Siddhanta Sarasvatī. This is translated from Srila Prabhupāda Patrāvali. I just want to read this one sentence one more time. While living on this earth, we do not get the direct association of many devotees from the transcendental realm. But because the conversations and pastimes of the devotees who were present during the manifest pastimes of Sriman Mahaprabhu perpetually exists in the form of granthas and shabda, or words, sound vibration, we do not feel so much pain in our worldly troubles. If in this world we live amidst the discussion and message of the transcendental world, our reflections on that message will keep us aloof from worldly pain. No matter where you find yourself, that divine Harikatha will never abandon you. To be sure, you will even remember Bhagavān and comprehend the topic of bhakti within all the things of this world. Okay, so Hari Bol Shubhananda Prabhu. Okay, so now we will read this another letter. This letter is from Srila Bhakti, my Paramgurudev, Srimad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. The title of it is Shri Bhagavān is not for the weak-hearted. So this is written in Keśavji Gaudiya Math, Kangsaptila, Mathura, November 23rd, 1960. Shishi Guru Garangao Jayata. Yeah, it's an annoying thing in all the letter books of all of our Guru Varga, Srila Bhakti Mahārāja Gosvāmī Mahārāja, or Paramgurudev, Srila Sarasvatī Prabhupād, Srila Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and all the in all the different months they have the letter books of all the acharyas, but for some reason they redact all the names, all of them, all the books. It's like just their standard is to redact any name that's mentioned, which is a little, yeah. Okay, so I have received your letters dated October 17 and November 14, and became especially pleased to learn from them that you are inclined to receive training in accordance. And I was especially pleased to learn from them that you are inclined to receive training in accordance with the principles enunciated in the revealed scriptures. Swayam Bhagavān Shri Gaura-Sundar has said, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, always chant the glories of Shri Hari. And Shastra states, Kalo Tad Hari Kirtanat. In the age of Kali, deliverance is only achieved by performing Hari Kirtan. The significance of these statements is that the only way to become freed from material bondage is through the culture of Hari Kirtan. That is to say, only by discussing the glories and message of Sri Hari can all living beings become liberated and thus qualified to serve Sri Bhagavān. Hari Bol Sarve Shri Mataji. It is a source of deep happiness for me that you are always performing kirtan by discussing Hari Katha with everyone, in a way that is appropriate according to time, place, and circumstance. You must fearlessly speak the message of Sri Hari. In the teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu, we will not find even the slightest trace of diversion from scripture, nor any poor logic or inconsistency. All other propagators of religion, namely so-called religious sampradayas, schools of thought, and their acharyas, their chief preceptors, have attained or yearn to attain fame and reputation in modern society by presenting their fanciful speculations, whether narrow or broad. But their opinions oppose the conclusions. Their opinions oppose the conclusions of scripture and lack logic. It is absolutely essential to speak the truth courageously. Sri Bhagavān is not for the weak-hearted. Sri Bhagavān is not for the weak-hearted. In the Mundaka Upanishad 164, it has been said, Nayamatma balahine nalabhya. The absolute reality, that supreme soul, is not accessible to those who have no spiritual strength. But cowards manipulate religion with false interpretations, proclaiming, all are correct, jatamata tatapata. And thus they reveal the feebleness of their conception of bhajan. You must rigorously protest against these spurless assertions. If necessary, I am personally ready to discuss this in an open forum. You may inquire of those who attempt to assert that the featureless impersonal Brahma, that is the undifferentiated, all-pervading spirit, is a supreme absolute truth, the Paratattva. So you may inquire of those who say that that Brahma is the Paratattva, absolute truth. You may inquire, why is it so often seen in scripture that the word Brahma has been prefixed with Para, with the supreme absolute? The name Para Brahma is employed to indicate a higher tattva. Not just Brahma, but the supreme Brahma, or the existential truth. So the name Para Brahma is employed to indicate a higher tattva than just impersonal Brahma. In other words, it points us towards the supreme absolute entity. Hence, impersonal Brahma is not Paratattva, the supreme absolute truth. I will discuss this with you further when we meet. Knowledge of impersonal Brahma is knowledge of the negated aspect of Bhagavan, while knowledge of Bhagavan, the Supreme Person himself, is knowledge of the positive aspect. Ideas pertaining to negation have no intrinsic value. Sri Krishna himself spoke Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Krishna himself is the refuge of the all-pervading spirit, Brahma. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the basis and shelter of Brahma. That's Bhagavad Gita 14:27. You ought to make people thoroughly understand this statement. The word Vishnu appears in many places throughout the Vedas, and every single Brahmin priest utters this transcendental name every time he sanctifies himself with water. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Still, when demoniac people hear the name Vishnu, they are filled with fear. I cannot fully elaborate on this topic within the scope of this letter. Regarding your last question, if someone wants to enter worldly life, he must surely gain some kind of knowledge for the sake of earning his livelihood. But the topmost knowledge, of course, is all auspicious spiritual knowledge. I conclude here. With blessings, Sri Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava. This is translated from Sri Gaudiya Patrika, year 28, issue 3. And the next thing, I think we'll end here because I want to get to working on the songbook now. We're now entering in the corrections, the last corrections from our, but this next article is Human Misery a Pastime of God? By Śrīla Prabhupāda, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Swami Prabhupāda. Oh, this is a short one. Oh, this is very short. It's only one page. Let's read it, and then we'll end after that. And this is written by Śrīla Prabhupāda in Sri Gaudiya Patrika, Year 9, Issue 11, 1958. Okay, so Śrīla Prabhupāda says, I think we read this before, actually. Anyways, let's just read it. Is God responsible for all the varieties of misery that man must face or not? Yes, we did read this. I remember we read this recently, actually. Anyhow, let's just no harm in reading it over again. It's not long. When a Swami, who was a regular visitor to Delhi, was asked this question by the good Dr. Sharma, he presented his answer in front of everyone in the assembly. He said, "The miseries visible in human life, whatever they may be, are all a pastime of the Lord." Dr. Sharma lives and practices medicine in Delhi. He is a keen seeker of truth and an avid reader of our Bhakti Godhead magazine, and he often inquires for me on a variety of topics. The good doctor found the Swami's answer to his question completely unsatisfying. He countered by saying that if all of a person's activities are to be considered a pastime of the Lord, then why is it said that man must experience the results of his own pious and sinful activities? When the Swami attempted to justify his explanation simply by repeating the same phrase, "It is all a pastime of the Lord," then Dr. Sharma exclaimed in the midst of that assembly, he said, "I am not satisfied with your answer." The common people in the audience were simply listening to their arguments. No one could understand the essence of the topic, nor did anyone even try to understand it. On many occasions, we too come across this question, which is ever stirring in the human mind. Why did God create so much misery in this world? Is it all his pastime? The truth, though, is quite different from what this question implies. Among all the meaningless obstacles that monists have created in this world by conceiving of God and the living entity as existing in total oneness, none is more severe than the introduction of this particular type of doubt. The activities of souls that are imprisoned by the material energy are mundane. But these impersonalists, on account of their claim that God and the living being exists in total oneness, are obliged to attribute such mundane activities to the pastimes of God. Without doing so, they would not be able to reconcile their statements, like God is in distress or God is begging alms. Therefore, it is not possible to support the doctrine of impersonalism, a doctrine which completely destroys one's spiritual life, without concocting the alleged divine theologies that are conveyed by statements such as Narayan has become impoverished to enact the pastime of begging, or Narayan has become a pig to enact the pastime of feeding on stool. The Supreme Spirit, in the form of deliciously prepared chicken eggs, is reposed within the belly of that same Supreme Spirit in the form of a holy mendicant, and the like. It is for this reason that Srimad Mahaprabhu clearly stated, Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoy Sarvanash. Hearing the commentary of a Mayavadi completely destroys one's spiritual life. As long as this form of artificial spiritualism, known as impersonalism, is not expelled from this world, the common man shall not be able to comprehend Sri Krishna's identity, nor his name, qualities, and so forth. Foolish people readily accept such malformed theologies simply because they are sold out to their sect, but they are unable to comprehend the real implication of their conception. What else could be the fate of a common man who keeps the harmful association, the Sādhu-saṅga of the impersonalists, but to be misled and converted to atheism, only to engage in mere sense gratification? We really see how Śrīla Prabhupāda is nirvishesha shunyavadi tarine, desha tarine. He delivered all of every town, country, every place on earth that was plagued by Mayavad and Shunyavad, impersonalism and voidism. All right, so that is our reading for today. This letter by Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj was so beautiful. Maybe we could read this tomorrow. Yeah. What is this? Shri Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas are moved by our emotions. Let's do that. Tomorrow we'll read these letters. Yeah, this letter by Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj. And then, what's this by Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī? Sorry, Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj. Only divine blessings can bring us to the highest plane. Yeah, and that's very short. And then our Gurudev's one is a bit long. Anyhow, we'll see. Maybe we can read this tomorrow. All right, that's our program. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Paramgurudev Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swaparsha Ji Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Mahārāja Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vandadevi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keśava Shacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Giri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Sarveshwari Mataji, Nita Mukeshji, Champak Mataji. Oh, and Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj. Dandavat Pranams Maharaj. I didn't see you before. Sorry about that. Dandavat Pranams. And also Mahid Bharat Prabhu. Dandavat Pranams. And wow, we have 4 Prabhupada disciples with us right now. And Vidyalala Sadidi, Abhay Mishri, Abhay Prabhu, Shubhananda Prabhu, and everybody else. Also Shachi Devi, Jaydev Prabhu, and all other devotees watching in the future. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll see you all tomorrow to read that letter by Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj, article by Śrīla Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj, and some kata from our Śrīla Gurudev. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end the program for today? Okay, see you all tomorrow. Hari Bol.